Good evening, everybody. So first of all, I would just like to apologise. There seems to have been some issues tonight with joining the link. So for that reason, I am here on my own and talking to nobody, which for those of you who join regular know how strange that is for me. However, I still wanted everybody to have access to the training. So I've decided to go ahead and do it anyway, which tonight's training is maximising your communication skills. So as I say, I wanted to go ahead and do it anyway. It's all being recorded as it would do if there was 50 of you on here tonight. The only difference, of course, is going to be that nobody can ask any questions at the end. So this training, just to pre-warn everybody, is of course going to be a lot of me talking and not much else, but that's okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask that once you guys have watched this training and got up to speed with it, if you do have any questions at all, please go ahead and email me, Sharna@archertravel.com. So what I've done is I have made some notes. So if you see me looking like this on and off, that's why I'm just looking at the notes that I've made. So the reason I've decided to do this specific training today is because with regards to what we do, it's not just selling holidays, it's not just taking a checklist or a bullet point list of notes, finding it and going back. Communication within the travel agency world is a real big sort of cornerstone of building trust, delivering the experience that you want, very much that seamless experience, and most importantly, maintaining long-term relationships, gaining the retention of your clients. It's all well and good booking people once here and there, but you want that communication and you want that relationship to build so that you are the only person that they come back to time and time again, whether that's that we book and go away once a year, 3 times a year, whatever that might be. You always want them to have you at the forefront of their mind. And that goes without saying that when your clients talk to their friends and their family, again, that they've got you at the forefront of their mind. And different communication skills is really a huge way of kind of building that and securing that. Clear communication leads to less confusion as well, which obviously is a huge thing. So as I say, I've written some notes and we're just going to talk about them. I'm just going to talk about them. And as I say, if you do have any questions from this at all, please go ahead and send me an email. And what I'll do, if there's loads of questions, I'll actually build it into another training. And we will literally do a bit of a Q&A session as a training. If it's just a few and there's not many people asking too many things, I'll just go ahead and respond to your email and answer your question directly. So the first thing that I have written is know your audience. So we have touched on this. This isn't going to be really anything new for most of you, but you need to be able to tailor your communication and your style of communication to match that client, to match their needs, to match their preferences. An example, of course, that again, I'm sure some of you will have heard me use before, is that you could literally take a phone call, for example, be on the phone to somebody who may be a married couple that are in their 80s and have cruised for a very long time, very much know what they want, know what they like, what they don't like. And a couple of hours later, you could be on the phone to a 17-year-old young boy or young lady that are trying to plan their first ever girls or boys or, mixture getaway. the way you speak to both of those clients should be very, very different. So although certain things have to very much keep the same, clear communication, all of that kind of thing, your style very much should change. And that's a bit of an odd thing to say, because usually it's one of those things where you keep it the same across the board. When it comes to building a rapport and gaining the trust and the confidence of somebody, you have to adapt and you have to mirror their own personality. So, as I say, simple way of putting it, you shouldn't really be speaking to Mr. and Mrs. Smith in their 80s the same way that you're talking to 17-year-old Gina, who's just turning 18 and wants to go to Ayia Napa with a group of her friends in the next few months. So knowing your audience is a huge thing, and that's exactly why I put it first. Also, within knowing your audience, by actively listening and asking the right questions, you're also going to uncover their goals with regards to the travel, the holiday, their budget, their expectations. Again, keyword their budget, we've spoken about it. Different ways of incorporating that question without such a, as I say, I know budget isn't a negative word. I've always just been taught that budget is quite negative. But if you ask somebody what research have they done, they might have been online. No problem. What did you find online? Did you find anything online? Brilliant. And what was that coming in at? Okay. And what was the reason that you have decided against booking that? If you ask that question straight away, there's a few things, of course, that it could well be. If they say that they found something £700 per person, the reason they didn't book it, it was too expensive, kind of already half ticked that box. It may just be that they're not confident booking themselves. It may be that they didn't like the accommodation, all of that kind of thing. But you are opening up these questions without such direct words as things like budget. But it allows you to personalize it. It allows you to understand how your interactions are going to be, and it allows you to build that rapport with that client. So huge one there, knowing your audience. The second one that I wrote down, which we've actually just said a couple of times, is to master active listening. So listening completely goes beyond hearing the words that somebody is saying. It, of course, branches out to completely understanding what that client, in this case, is saying, responding to the things that they're saying, responding to what's coming out of their mouth, and ensuring that you've listened correctly in the fact that you aren't asking them a question that they've just given you the answer to. You need to avoid interrupting. So as far as I know, I don't really think any agents use these kind of interactions, Teams calls, Zoom meetings. Although, by the way, they can be a really, really good way of taking it up a notch. For those of you who do have the confidence to offer your clients a Teams meeting or a Zoom call, the difference in being able to see the person, see the body language, look at me now, the frowns, and it can make a huge difference to, again, exactly what we've just spoken about, knowing your audience, the communication levels, being able to see things as well as just hear them, really can make a huge difference. So, as I say, I've not heard of anybody doing video interactions with their clients. But that's really the only place where it could be a little bit different when I say avoid interrupting. I know from our experiences on here, sometimes it cuts out for that split second, somebody else will start talking. It's certainly not doing it on purpose, of course, but sometimes that slight split second of an interruption can't necessarily be helped. But as I say, slightly going off there, as I say, I don't think anybody does do Zooms or Teams or anything at the inquiry stage. So if it is telephone, etc., avoid interrupting. Always take notes. Always make sure you are taking notes, whether that is old school pen and paper, whether that's on your computer, on your laptop, on a tablet, whatever it may be. Just ensure you are taking those notes down so that you're not asking as I've just said, not asking the questions that they've already answered, not missing anything out. Does that client have any deal breakers? Is always a great question. Somebody's deal breaker could well be that they don't want to land, they don't want a late flight going out. If you've just decided, oh, I can remember all of this in my head, and then you offer them a 3:00 in the afternoon flight, you've instantly broken a slight amount of that confidence and that comfortability between the two of you. Because if that's somebody's deal breaker and you've just not taken the time, the 5 seconds it would be to write has to be 8 a.m. flight, small things like that. Always make sure you are taking those notes and repeat them back. Repeat them back to your customer. So I've got down here your absolute must-haves are A, B, C. Another thing, just while it's popped into my head, not on my notes, another really good thing to use are the must-haves, the wants, and the accepts. So somebody, for example, if you're jotting notes down and you're then repeating it, which is where I was at, I've got down here, Mr. Smith, that you must have a gym at this hotel. You would want to be on the seafront, but you would accept up to a 15-minute walk to the beach. Something as simple as that. I'm not saying that everyone's going to be that straightforward, but using those 3 things, that technique, you can really gauge what is most important to your client. And it's also showing that you've taken down everything that they've said and that you understand the importance of certain things. You must have a morning flight. You want to be within a 15-minute walk of the resort centre. You will put up with up to an hour's transfer from the airport. You gauging the importance of that holiday and what they really, really want. If you then turn around and said, well, I found you actually an accommodation that's only 10 minutes from the airport. So it's a really, really good location with regards to the airport, but you have to get a half an hour bus into the main resort centre. You're offering them the opposite of their sort of must-haves and will takes and etc. etc. You can see where I'm going with that. So active listening, confirming those details back, ensuring that you've got the clarity and ensuring that they know you've actively listened to everything that they've said. You've got it, you understand it, you're going ahead and you're going to find it for them. On to the 3rd point, use clear and professional language. So avoiding jargon is the main thing here. It's not a huge chunky sort of subject to go into. Avoiding jargon. Obviously, if you were speaking to somebody who was very much aware of travel terms, that's a little bit different if you were talking to me or something like that. But you have to be so professional and so understanding when it's coming to talking to a client. Just like some of you guys will know certain terms, some of you won't know certain terms, some of you'll be picking it up as you're going along. But a lot of the time agents are brand new and your clients may well be exactly the same. They aren't going to understand certain things. You are going to have to break it down. I've done it myself on here a few times Although, to be fair, you can pat yourselves on the back for that, because sometimes I just forget that some of you are still relatively new, and you're doing your thing over there, and it just completely leaves my mind that you may not know some of these terms. So that's only a good thing that I do it now and again. Yeah, but just ensuring that you're not using too many travel terminologies, or, if you are sending a quote to a customer, although a lot would understand, for example, if it said LGW 8 a.m., a lot would understand that that means London Gatwick 8 a.m. Others wouldn't. So if you've got a quote from, let's say, gold medal, for example, or JTA, and they've sent that through to you and you're forwarding it on to the customer, maybe just double check that under LGW or next to LGW that it actually states London Gatwick. Another silly one, again, this is more in writing, but it's another good reason to have to call your customer and get that interaction back with them rather than just typing back and forward. If there's an overnight flight, 100% of the time where your flight times are, it's going to say +1. If you go into somewhere like Australia, it could even say +2 because you're arriving the day after or 2 days after. They may not even understand what that means. So again, just being clear with it. It's so straightforward, but it's those small things that you really do need to appreciate and understand that not everybody is going to know. They're not going to always know what LGW means. And, every so often you may well find that somebody, some company, some supplier somewhere actually puts LGN for London Gatwick North. That's going to throw people off even more. And that does happen. So, just look at it before you send it off. Make sure it makes complete sense to somebody who is going to be handing money over. You don't want them to be having to ask any questions. If it is a private transfer, why not just change that to a private taxi transfer? If it says it's a shuttle transfer, why not just change a couple of those words and say that that is a shared coach transfer, for example? Again, these are very small things, but they can make that big difference. When you're speaking in person, ensure that you are keeping your language simple. Make sure you're keeping it positive. Again, I know a few times I've said things, I'm like, I'm really not trying to be negative. We just have to do this between us. Clients don't need to know any kind of negativity, or if you've had a nightmare getting a quote, they don't need to know that. We can discuss that at whatever time, whether it's on our trainings, whether you need to vent over the phone to me, if you need to drop me an email and tell me that you've had a bad experience, we can do that. But we do not need to be passing that on to the client. Another thing is to ensure that you've slowed your communication down slightly, not to the point where, they're thinking, what's going on at the end of this phone? Do they think I'm there for? Do they think there's, I've maybe got additional needs or something like that? You don't need any of that. It's just making sure that the words that are coming out of your mouth are all understandable for any type of client that is on the other end of that phone. Something that I actually don't think I've put in my notes, but something I'm just thinking about now, is also your tone of voice. So again, you guys see me twice a week, so it won't be a shock to anybody how much I talk with my hands. But of course, if I do this and nobody can see what I'm doing with my hands, you're relying on the tone of voice. If I speak very monotone, you're not going to have any idea where I'm going with what I'm talking about. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it exciting? Is it not? You're just not going to know. So again, if you're anything like me and your hands are going 10 to the dozen pretty much at all times. People can get an idea of how you're feeling and what you're putting across. But as soon as you take that away, you then have to rely on the sound of your voice. It's very, very true that people say that they can hear you smiling on the other end of the phone. So that's always something to think about as well. But the tone of your voice, inflections where they need to be. Obviously, I don't necessarily mean being a valley girl, that everything's got an inflection on the end. If America see this, they're going to go absolutely nuts at that impression. But I'm sure you all know exactly what I mean. Keeping it slow, but not too slow. Trying not to keep it too monotone so that nobody understands what you're saying, or they can't understand what you're trying to put across and how you're trying to put it across. But just doing it, up where it needs to be up, down where it needs to be down, how you're asking the question, making sure it's coming across as a question, etc. The next thing I've written down is staying organized and responsive. Again, we have spoken about this on more than one occasion. Be totally open with your client. If they are asking for a tour of Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand, do not tell them that you're going to get back to them within the next hour or 2 hours. It's not going to happen. They will not mind if you tell them it's going to be tomorrow, as long as you put that across to them in the right way. So as much as we could very much be like, you want to go to 3 countries? Of course, I'm not going to be able to do it within half an hour. You wouldn't, of course, be able to say that to the client. But what you do need, all you need to do there, change the way you say it. I want to ensure that we're doing this the best way for you. You're getting the most for your money. It may mean that I need to play about with the flights a little bit, see which one is the cheapest to get into. Do we have regular internal flights so that we can maximize your time in each place, etc., etc. So what I'm thinking with this, Mr. Smith, to make sure that I tick all of your boxes here, I'm going to ask you if you can give me actually the rest of today to look at this, and for me to ensure that I've sent you an itinerary via email by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. How does that sound? Chances are they're going to say that that's absolutely fine. That's brilliant, Mr. Smith. The other thing I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, once I've sent you that by 11 a.m., I would love to know what the best time for me is to actually give you a call and go through any questions you've got on the itinerary, anything that you might think you want to change, or anything that I've put in there or added, etc., etc. What time is going to be best for me to give you a call and run through what I sent you? And that might not be till tea time, whatever it might be, when they finish work, when they're free, however that might go. And that's where you just have those little negotiations. I'll be totally honest with you. 5 o'clock is actually the exact time that I pick my daughter up from nursery. Is there any possible way I'd be able to make it 5:30? Does that work for you? And you just do small negotiations from there. But you are staying organized with it. You are being completely open and transparent with your client. You are not over-promising and under-delivering. And you're also getting their agreement. So you're putting your sort of terms and boundaries in place. And in return, you're getting the same from them as well. Follow-ups is another big one, which kind of goes off the back of that. But if it wasn't necessarily a complicated 3-country itinerary, which I've got it with there, I would still, if I asked one of you guys to look at something in Lanzarote for me, I would still personally want to take that away and go and show my partner anything that you've sent me on an email. if you've sent me a link, if you've sent me photographs, any videos, flight times, the cost, everything really. The resort, we'd probably look at the resort. Tell me what you think. Is it what we're after? You know. So again, that could just be a straightforward flying flop holiday, just a week in Lanzarote for me, my partner, and my daughter. But I wouldn't necessarily be able to say within 5 minutes, let's go ahead with it. So again, ask me when you can ring me. Nobody's gonna look at you in a negative light for asking when you can be in touch. Another thing that we've spoken about with regards to being organized is about putting things in your calendars, your email calendars, your phone calendars, whatever you use the most. But you can use that for pretty much everything. And I mean everything. So my calendar is used to contact an agent to remind her that one of her clients needs to pay an installment off their holiday. And it's in my calendar, of course, when I've got meetings and trainings, etc. But then also any emails that I need to send. So I find sometimes that if I were to send an email to a supplier at 10 o'clock at night, it may not come across very well. And it's also going to go to the bottom of their pile that day. They're going to come in and chances are they're going to work from the top. So someone who sent them an email at 5 to 9 and 20 to 9 and 8:30, etc., and I'm going to be at the bottom. So sometimes I'll pop it in there and make sure that I do this. I'll pop it in there and chase up a supplier, check a payment has been sent, or whatever it might be. You can use your calendar for absolutely anything and everything. So there is nothing stopping you guys from using it to follow up with Mr. Smith's inquiry, MSC cruise, whatever it may be, and just use it and use it wisely. It shows professionalism, it shows reliability, it shows everything we're talking about, great communication. It shows trust as well, because you said that you're going to do this and you absolutely have gone ahead and done it. So that is that on staying organized and responsive. Excuse me. Something else I've written down is just regarding like the visual aids. I think, to be honest, most of you have cracked this. So using itineraries, using photographs, using videos, using maps if you need to. It will just enhance everything that you're either saying or that you've written down. It may be that it needs to be a separate link. That's okay. That is absolutely fine. You are still giving your client everything that they're going to need in order to understand what it is that you found for them. It also helps with anything that maybe doesn't sound right to your client when you're saying it over the phone. It'll help them gauge that visual side of things. I understand what she meant now. And anybody can fall victim to this. If I'm looking at a photograph of a hotel and I'm saying to my client over the phone, so I don't have any sea view rooms available. I'm looking at a photograph of the hotel now, and I can see the way that it's shaped. It looks as though the rooms that don't overlook the sea, they don't overlook a road. It's definitely not a road. It looks as though it could be another hotel if you're around that side. But if you're around the other side, to be honest, it just looks like trees and bushes and flowers, etc. All I have to do is send that photograph. And then while I'm on the phone, actually then say to them, if you can see that photograph there, if you were to be on the left-hand side, you can see that what you'd be overlooking is X, Y, Z. Whereas if you're on the other side, it just changes that. Something that can turn complicated so easily turns it into that visual You're both on the same page, literally looking at the same photograph in this case, and just kind of takes any confusion away. The next one that I have put down here is developing emotional intelligence. So empathy is a big part of this. So when things do, and unfortunately they can and do go wrong, and that could be, you know, flight delays, weather situations, last minute changes. These aren't things that we can help. We all understand that, but it's also not things that your client can help. And they're the ones that are stood at an airport, for example, passports in hand, flip-flops on feet, hat on head, and then being told that their flight's been delayed by however long. I personally had a 9-hour delay, and we were told 15 minutes prior to being picked up. Literally, you're ready to go. You could have had the best holiday in the entire world, but unfortunately, when you know you're going home, you just want to go home, get a takeaway, and get in your own bed. So to be told 15 minutes before you're supposed to be being picked up that you've had a 9-hour delay is not great. Now, if I wasn't in my position, the first thing I would do is go to my travel agent and say to them, I've had a delay. I've only just been told we have left our room, we've handed our key back, they want €100 for a late checkout room, and we just don't have it left, or, you know, whatever it might be. You have got to empathize with that customer. You have to show understanding. You have to show, try and put forward any kind of solution that you could think of. So in that respect, it would be quite straightforward. Okay, this is not ideal. I'll be completely honest with you. Flight delays do happen. They are completely out of anybody's hands. Certainly not something that we want to do to anybody. I totally get what you're saying. €100 is a lot of money. I don't think I would have €100 left on the last day of my holiday either. Why don't we try and find out if the hotel have got a room where you guys can shower and get yourselves ready later on, so that you can still go off and enjoy your day, somewhere to put your cases, etc., etc. The same really then with the flight delay itself. What I'm going to do is I am going to try and find out why there's been a delay. I'll be completely honest with you, Mr. Smith. I cannot guarantee that I can find this out. It may be that once you've taken your flight home, we need to write to the airline and see what they come back with. But I will try and see if I can get any information for you now. You can also make sure you're calming them down. That's by you staying calm. You are talking exactly how we've just spoken about. You're keeping yourself quite low. You're certainly not, raising any voices. You're keeping your language professional. You're keeping it soft. You are still actively listening to everything that they say. You're still keeping your communications slow. The easiest yet worst thing that you can do is match somebody's energy if they are quite irate, let's say. And it's the easiest thing to do, because I think human instinct, we kind of take it personally, because they may well be sort of ranting or raging at us. So defense mechanism, walls go up, back goes up, hair starts standing up, and it's very, very easy to sort of mirror them. Nothing will ever come of that, ever. So you just need to take a breath, listen, understand, and ask questions. By all means, ask questions. If you've got somebody at an accommodation and they ring you the day after they've landed and this hotel is absolutely terrible, this is going on, and we've had an absolute nightmare, and we went to the reception and they said this, and which unfortunately can happen. Don't be afraid. Okay, let's just Thank you very much for ringing me, first of all. Now, I can clearly see that you are upset and that you're a little bit angry. But in order for me to try and rectify this for you, I need to know from the beginning, as calm as you can, exactly what issues have occurred. If you can remember them in order, ideal. But don't worry if not, as long as you've got it all down there. Take some notes and go to whichever supplier it might be. My customers in resort, this, that's when you can start getting a little bit leveled if you need to. Obviously, again, it's not their fault, but you can put their passion across for them. And you can very much be on their side. And they've told me this, and I cannot believe that they've turned up at a hotel and that has happened, etc., etc., etc. So you're handling it correctly. You've got to be patient. You've got to be understanding, and you've got to try and offer a solution. If you cannot, at that very split moment in time, think of anything, be totally honest with them, and just stay calm and actually say, I'm going to be completely honest, Mr. Smith. I'm not 100% sure of how to handle this in the most quick and effective, efficient, way for you. However, I am going to contact somebody who I think will be able to help me with a solution. That could be me, that could be your platinum, that could be the supplier themselves, whatever it may be. But again, as long as you're honest with them, I want to ensure that we can get this rectified as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Please allow me to go and speak to somebody else and come back to you. Can I also check the telephone number that I've got for you? Is that the number you are using while you're abroad? Okay, let me get straight on the phone now. And I'm not 100% sure how long it'll take. There's no reason why I shouldn't be back with you within the next 30, 40 minutes. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry that this is going on. Let's see what we can do. Just make sure you can honestly flip such a negative experience, a stressful situation for somebody, into a really positive, trusting outcome. And again, that's bringing it back to retaining that customer. Yes, there was an issue. You dealt with it perfectly, quickly. You did what we needed to do. And that's why I've come back to you. And then we have got writing skills. So this obviously comes into your emails, your itineraries, your I know some of you, quite a lot of you use WhatsApp and you'll use Facebook Messenger. Those all need to be as professional as each other. Now that does include your WhatsApps. I think I've seen it myself, that it's very easy to turn that into text chat, if that's the right jargon to use. I don't know, I'm too old. But yeah, this the abbreviations, and obviously I know nobody's putting WTF on a message to a client, but it's the only one I could think of. Ellen AO. I know that nobody is going to do that, and they're very out there ones to put forward as examples. But I think you understand what I'm trying to say. An email and a WhatsApp message should be as professional as each other. I've accidentally done it myself before on an email. Please be very, very careful. I've never sort of been in a situation where I'm using WhatsApp and things like that. But I have used Facebook Messenger, I have used emails, and you'll accidentally put a kiss on the end. Oh, and just that split second, you're just doing a Facebook message or whatever it might be. And our brains are so wired that it's friends, etc., that we're talking to on those kind of platforms. You might just do it, and I have done it myself. It's highly embarrassing, and I don't want that happening to anybody else. But yes, you need to keep all of these things professional. You need to keep them error-free. There's everybody's phone. If you're on your phone and you're using WhatsApp or you are using Facebook Messenger, I think 99.9% of phones will either automatically change them or will tell you that you've made a spelling mistake on even a text, a WhatsApp, a Facebook message. They will tell you. Please make sure you're checking them. Obviously, that goes without saying for emails as well. But you'd be surprised at how often it really, really does happen. If bullet points need to be used, use them. If headers need to be used, use them. If you're sending somebody 2 quotes, all you need to do, option 1, hyphen Thailand, and make it bigger and make it bold. And your next one, option 2, make it bigger, make it bold, so that they can distinguish between what's going on and they know that they're looking at 2 different things. Make it easy if they're printing it. Make it easy if they are older, make it easy if they are younger. Whatever client it is that you've got in front of you, just ensure that it is professional, it is spelt correctly, grammar is being used. Like I say, it's error-free, using any formatting that you need to, bullet points and hyphens and headings, and just make sure you're proofreading it. It can sound, I'm sure it does sound so silly, but I see it far too often. And it is exactly what it is unprofessional. And it kind of goes against everything that we've just been speaking about for the last 40 minutes. And then finally, again, something that we've spoken about is seeking feedback. Ask your clients for their feedback. You don't necessarily have to do it on the phone. I totally appreciate that can be hard. Certain things you just wouldn't say, and therefore it makes you sound funny if you do say it or it doesn't come out right. But you absolutely could send them an email asking them for a little bit of feedback about the experience, about the communication, the process, the booking process, rather than just the holiday itself. If you do get a negative response, that opens you up to be able to contact them, apologize. Hopefully you've explained in the first place anything that, I'm not really too sure on this. I feel like I want to get help with this. I want to ensure that I've checked all the best suppliers for you. And then anything in that respect can't sort of come back to bite you on the bum. Because all of that would have been sort of explained at the beginning. But yeah, ask for it, seek the feedback. Would you recommend me to friends and family? As you are aware, Mr. Smith, I explained to you I've only been doing this for 6 months. I'm still building my client base. We're still expanding our suppliers that we're using. May I ask, based on the experience that you had, would you recommend me to your friends and family? Was there anything that you found really excellent about the customer service you received, about the sales process, the booking process? Was there anything that you think may need to be changed throughout the booking or the sales process? They can fill that in at their own leisure as well. You're not ringing them up on the phone, asking them question after question. But also even putting on that email, as I am still building my business and my client base, I would really appreciate any feedback to help me grow, and to ensure that I'm giving the best service that I possibly can to all clients moving forward, hopefully yourselves again. So yeah, please ensure that you are asking for feedback. Hopefully you'll get fantastic feedback every time, but if you don't, it doesn't have to be a negative. as I say, if you've done the right thing and you've explained that you might be new, or you know, things might be taking a little bit longer, you still get your head around certain systems, or, you know, you can even blame the systems. I'm, I'm not great with this system. It's a little bit complicated sometimes. I think I might go away and ring them. You know, you can turn it into a bit of a laugh. They don't expect you to do everything done. Just be honest. And that way, when it does come to feedback, you'll find that it will always be a lot more positive because you've given them the truth from the get-go. So just in conclusion there, so as I've gone on, I can't believe I've gone on for 50 minutes and there's nobody else on the other side, just me. But hey ho, so exceptional communication is not just about talking, it's about connecting, it's about understanding, it's about actively listening and delivering with precision and with care. By continually owning these skills, you will find that you don't only enhance your client experience, you'll enhance your own experience, and you'll also position yourself as a trusted advisor in a very highly competitive market. So I hope you've all got something out of that. I hope it makes sense to you. I hope you can see that by sort of taking these things on and instilling them into your process just makes everything seamless, easy, you know, and doing this every time. So although your communication style may change, you know, I'm going to talk to Mr. and Mrs. Smith and probably very much how I speak now. And I'm going to talk to Gina, 17 down the road, going on her first girls' holiday. I'm going to talk to her a little bit more, you know, right, excellent. Come on then, where are you thinking? Malia. Of course you're thinking Malia. So you're going all like 1830s, are you? Amazing. What's your plan while you're there? I'm never going to say that to Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Mr. and Mrs. Smith are very much, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, what do you plan on doing while you're away? Anything at all? Or are you just going to be relaxing? Do you like to get out and about? Gina down the road, she's getting the full, right, Gina, what are we doing? Are we having a look what boat parties are on for you? You know, although your style of communication is going to change, your professionalism isn't going to change. Your listening isn't going to change. The information that you need isn't going to change. You're just adapting. You're building the rapport. You want them to like you and come back to you every time, not just for the first holiday, but then a couple of years down the road, she's done a girls things, and now actually she's got a partner and they're going away for the first time. You want her to come back to you, you know. You want to live through Gina, 19 years old, 17, 18, 19. Let's live through Gina. Yes, so as I say, I do hope you've all got something out of it. Any questions, please drop me an email. As I say, if I'm flooded with them, I'll do another training. We'll just do a bit of a Q&A on the questions that are popping up. It's just the odd one or two. I'll just respond to you directly and hopefully be able to answer whatever it is that you're asking. As per usual, if anybody wants any one-to-ones booking in, and it could be on this kind of topic, it could of course be on something completely different, please let me know and I absolutely will fit you in when I can. Bear in mind, again, some of you will know, some of you won't know, I go away 2 weeks tomorrow. So for anybody who is wanting things like one-to-ones, if you're wanting them soon, you will need to let me know. We need to get them booked in and done as quick as possible for you. So thank you everybody for watching. And I apologize again that there's been issues with the link. I will ensure that Thursdays is obviously on the Travel Cafe and on Archer Travel UK Facebook page. For anybody who isn't following, please make sure you are on Archer Travel UK, because when it does come to these kind of issues, last minute problems that I do not know about, of not being able to get on, I do have access to be able to post on the Facebook site. So that then I can do straight away. It doesn't matter about the time difference with the guys over in America and those that are in head office over there. I can just get anything out that I need to repost in a link explaining that there's an issue, whatever it might be. So yes, please ensure that you are following the Arch Travel UK Facebook page, and I will hopefully physically see you on Thursday for the next training. So thanks very much, guys. See you later. Bye.